There's something fascinating and honestly a little concerning happening inside our top business schools. We're seeing this huge gap, a real disconnect between the incredible academic research they produce and the real world it's supposed to be helping. Today, we're going to dig into why that is and why it matters a lot.
So picture this. You're a brilliant professor at a top-tier business school, and you get this feedback from the former CEO of a Fortune 50 company. Wow. I mean, talk about brutally honest, right? A single sentence like that just cuts right to the heart of a huge, important question.
Because you have to ask if the people who are actually in the trenches running these massive companies find the research unusable, then what's its purpose? In this explainer, we're going to unpack why so much brainpower and so many resources might be missing the mark and what we can actually do about it.
All right, first things first. Let's start by gathering the evidence. Let's really get a sense of how deep this divide between the ivory tower and the boardroom actually is.
So are we talking about a small crack here or a massive chasm? Well, all the evidence suggests we are looking at a full-on canyon, and it has some very real consequences. And look, these are not just some academic thought experiments. These are urgent, practical questions that executives are wrestling with every single day. They're asking for tools, for frameworks, for answers. And a lot of the time, they're looking to academia and getting, well, radio silence.
Just four. According to the source material, over the last 50 years, all of academic accounting research has produced only 4 major, widely used products or processes for the business world. Things like activity-based costing. Just 4 in half a century. I mean, when you think about the thousands of papers published, that number is absolutely staggering.
And this slide just lays it out so perfectly. On one side, you've got the stuff that keeps CFOs up at night. Cyber risk, finding talent, making huge capital decisions. And on the other side, you see what's often getting researched and published. It really is like they're operating in 2 parallel universes.
And this is the real kicker. The most cutting-edge, practical research, it's not always happening at universities anymore. It's happening inside sophisticated hedge funds, it's at the big investment banks, it's in the R&D labs at Google and Amazon. In a complete reversal of how things used to be, practice is now leading theory.
Okay, so we've seen the what, we've seen the evidence of this massive divide. Now let's pivot to the why. What's really driving this? The answer is probably not what you think, and it leads us directly to how these schools are funded.
I mean, if this problem is so clear, why does it keep happening? There has to be some kind of powerful underlying force at play, right? An incentive system that keeps pushing research further and further away from the real world.
Get ready for this number. $400,000. That's the estimated cost to produce one single article in a top academic journal. And the most shocking part? Most of that money, believe it or not, comes from student tuition fees.
And this cycle right here explains everything. It all starts with the funding. It's from tuition, not from a client who has a problem they need solved. Then, for a young professor to get tenure and keep their job, they have to publish in these top journals. And who reviews the articles for those journals? Other senior academics. So what's the end result? You get research that is perfectly designed to impress other academics, not to solve real-world problems. It's a completely closed loop.
Okay, so it might sound a little bleak, I know. We've diagnosed the problem, we found the root cause. But here's the good news. There are a bunch of really smart, concrete ideas for how to fix it. So let's explore how we can start building some bridges across this divide. First up, and it's probably the most intuitive one, you have to break that closed loop we just talked about. If the whole problem is a lack of connection to the real world, well, the answer is to get academics out of their offices and into the thick of it.
And we're not just talking about vague ideas here. Think about specific programs, like having a professor spend a whole year working inside a company on sabbatical. Or schools could organize what they call pin factory trips, a nod to Adam Smith, to see innovation happening up close. You could even have professor and residence programs where they get to be a fly on the wall during major corporate decisions. It's all about total immersion.
But, it's not enough to just create more relevant research. You also have to make sure that the amazing insights that do exist can actually be understood and used by people on the outside. This is really a communication problem. So how do you fix that? One brilliant idea is called versioning. Basically, for every dense 60-page academic paper, you also create a short 2-page summary that a normal human can actually read and use.
We also need more people who are skilled translators, who can act as that bridge between the two worlds. And imagine if schools hosted weekly talks that applied cutting-edge research to whatever is in the business headlines that day. That makes it instantly relevant.
Now, getting out of the building and communicating better, those are both absolutely crucial. But for real, lasting change, you've got to go one level deeper. You have to tweak the underlying incentive structure. You literally have to change the rules of the game.
Just think about this for a second. What if the top journals required papers to be reviewed by actual industry practitioners, CFOs, CEOs, to see if they're relevant? What if schools actively encourage professors to co-author papers with experts from the industry? And what if universities created prestigious awards not just for the most cited papers, but for the research that had the biggest, most tangible impact on the real world? Little changes like these could shift the entire system's focus.
So, where does all this leave us? We've seen the problem, we understand the cause, and we've got some really promising solutions on the table. Now let's talk about the stakes, because frankly, the entire future of business education might depend on getting this right.
This quote right here is a powerful, powerful warning. The whole value of a business school degree is tied to its relevance. If that research and teaching becomes completely disconnected from how business actually works, then everyone, students, parents, employers, is going to start looking elsewhere. They'll start asking, why do I need a university when a company like McKinsey or Apple can give me more practical, up-to-date training?
And that really is the million-dollar question, isn't it? The business world is evolving at lightning speed. So the question isn't just if academic research can bridge this gap with the real world, it's whether it can do it fast enough to prove its value and maintain its vital role in shaping the future of business.